have to get something off my chest. Mega Man X5 is a disjointed wonder. A cracked diamond glistening in the abyssal reef of 2D platformers tossed aside. Now, I'm not trying to say that Mega Man X5 is actually good, or it's so bad it's good. No, I'm beyond that. I just need us to take a moment and appreciate what was done here. Just relax, it will all be over soon. We have to talk about the boss names first, right off the bat. Mega Man X boss names always follow a kind of format. Something animal. Chill, penguin. Gravity, beetle. They cheated sometimes, but it was never too bad. Boomer Coanger, that's not really a thing. Magma Dragoon, okay, that's not an animal, but I see what you mean. But it was a system that worked. There's plenty of words left in the dictionary. But Mega Man X5 has something special going on. Have you heard this one? What's something that Mega Man fans in the year 2000 loved? How about a band that reached the height of its popularity in 1987, hadn't released a studio album in 7 years, and had virtually none of its founding members remaining? Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses had not been a cultural touchstone for some time, but they decided to name all the bosses after Guns N' Roses members. Who even knew that Guns N' Roses had 8 members? I must admit that I learned most of these guys' names from Mega Man X5, but let's expose ourselves to it for some time, shall we? Duff McWhalen. Say again, Duff McWhalen. Squid Adler. Izzy Glow. Dark Dizzy. How am I supposed to interpret Dark Dizzy? I can clearly see it's a bat. An Izzy and a Dizzy? Amazing. One of them is called merely Matrix. The legend goes, long ago in the year 2000X, the voice actress for Claire Redfield was inexplicably participating in the localization of Mega Man X5. A game, mind you, with no cutscenes or voices whatsoever, besides the Japanese X and Zero. And, in a tribute to her then-husband, managed to get the names of the bosses changed to Guns N' Roses references. In other words, one or more of the men on the localization staff, pining for the approval of the actress, committed a dishonor that I'm still talking about 23 years later. You betrayed yourself, Capcom of America localization team, for nothing. And since literally no one with a brain thought this was a good idea, and everyone hated it, and no one liked it, they changed the names back to the Japanese originals for the Mega Man X Legacy Collection too. But I still must comment that Spike Rose Red is not a thing, and he's just a sort of rose man. Now we can start on the good stuff. At the very start of the game, it's already losing me. First of all, who are you? And next, really, what the hell are you talking about? It doesn't help that the text box can only fit about 3 words per line, and every sentence is turned into a nonsensical cliffhanger. It makes no sense to anyone starting a video game. The first thing he says, the colony is still alive, all I have to do is go to Earth and scatter the virus. What the hell are you talking about? Oh well, I guess it'll make sense later, right? And I didn't want to have to go into this, but it's kind of unavoidable. Aaliyah chimes in during the intro stage repeatedly to tell you things like the ceiling might fall in. At this point, at the intro stage, the game is actually training you to just skip the dialogue. But when you get to the end of the level, Zero is waiting for you, and he drops this gem on you. He's a virus. He can't be seen or analyzed correctly like other data. You have to feel his evil energy. To which X responds, I see. Well, you should go back to base, Zero. Yeah, I have to agree. You've had a long day, Zero. Sleep it off. Come back when you can form a coherent sentence. At this point, you fight Sigma as a head, which I don't hate. Sigma is becoming a kind of trickster at this point. Who knows what wacky form he'll take next? However, viewer, I must warn you, the next scene is one of such profound stupefaction that the English language can barely describe it. After defeating Sigma, friends, the following scene plays out. Zero says, darn, that blast released the Sigma virus. What? What blast, Zero? That small explosion? How do you even know that? Darn. X says, it must have spread all over and could cover the Earth by now. All the Reploids are getting severely infected. How do you know that? What are you talking about? You're not even very high up in the air. Really, there's no point in dissecting it. Why did Sigma lure them there in the first place? I'm gonna stop. It just doesn't make sense. It's just random plot points strung together. Complete gibberish. After this certifiable barrage of text to skip through, you get called back to Hunter Base by Cygnus. Who the hell is Cygnus? Dynamo, Aaliyah, Cygnus? That's it, no more new characters. Okay, Cygnus, humor me. What have you got? So the Sigma virus has spread all over the world already, and, separately, the space colony Eurasia is on a collision course for Earth and will impact in 16 hours, annihilating all humans and Reploids. Well, that's a lot of info right now, let's just take a second. But then Aaliyah chimes in and decides that we have to destroy the colony. What's X's job here anymore anyway? So there's the Enigma, which is an old weapon they could use, but if that doesn't work, we have an old shuttle. But, get this, the autopilot doesn't work, so the pilot faces certain death. Okay? Then Douglas wants a piece of the action. Shut up, Douglas, we're full. No more new characters. Holy moly. Finally, we get to the 8 Mavericks, and get some more dialogue for introductions, but here we are. The feeling of finally being on the screen is almost frustrating. You're telling me I only have to fight these 4 guys? Doesn't that kind of defeat the point? What's with the virus again? Why are we saving the world all of a sudden? We're Maverick Hunters, we're not the only 5 people left on the planet. I'm really in awe. I'm in awe that they would create this gameplay system in the first place, but you really have to respect they chose to introduce it in the most unhinged way possible. For years I actually didn't understand this Enigma thing at all, but this is how it goes, basically. The Enigma is a gun that you can fire at any time to try to destroy the colony. If you succeed, then you proceed to the last levels. That's right, you can go to the end of the game right away without fighting any Maverick bosses. The 4 Mavericks introduced on the left of the screen each have some item, which is needed to help repair the Enigma. There's some combination of probability and random seeding that determines the success of the Enigma shot. In the PS1 version, you can manipulate the RNG by ending the demo around a certain frame, guaranteeing a successful shot. Without RNG manipulation, which is yet to be replicated on the Legacy Collection version, some combination of the parts you've collected and the day counter influence your success chance. I say success chance because you can collect all 4 parts and still fail in your firing of the Enigma. If you succeed, you get launched to the Sigma levels, but if you fail, have I got news for you, you get to do the same thing again but with the shuttle. Launch it or increase the probability by collecting the parts from the remaining Mavericks. It kinda doesn't matter whether the Enigma succeeds or not, but the result of the shuttle expedition determines which kind of ending you get. I hate to spoil it, but if you fail, Zero doesn't die, but ascends to a higher plane of evil self-actualization, and if you succeed, Zero doesn't die, and dies later. Also, by the way, there's a second virus on the colony that spreads all over the world when it explodes. That virus mixes with the virus that's already spread all over the world, making a new 3rd virus. I have no idea how these ideas make it through the planning phase. One thing you can do, I've discovered, is just start the game and immediately shoot and fail with the Enigma, then immediately launch and fail with the shuttle, and the game will still push you forward to the Sigma stages. So I think we know that tons of people probably didn't understand the very clear instructions, did both those actions, sat through the incomprehensible cutscenes where they explain what's happening instead of showing it, then they get to the first Sigma stage, die about 3 times, and then turn the game off forever. Now that was a lot, and we haven't even started playing the game yet. There's a lot to be said about level design, and I wholeheartedly agree that Duff Tidal Whale's level is terrible, but I'd rather focus on things that are a bit more granular and mundane. First, let's talk about the day counter. It starts at 16 and counts down 1 hour for every level. That is, whether you complete the level or game over and exit, it will count 1 hour. If the time goes to 0, then you just get thrown into the bad ending timeline. But there's also boss levels. Not boss level like the level of the boss, but the numerical level, like level 7, level 9. Every Maverick in the game will have a level that's influenced by a number of factors. The first is the day counter. It's a little different for X and 0, but for X, for example, on day 16, the boss will be level 1. On days 15 and 14, it will be level 3, and on and on. Another factor is the number of bosses you've already defeated. And when you open up the Sigma stages and the day counter disappears, then returns to the stage select screen and game overs will continue to increment the counter. What's the boss level even do? Well, it pretty much affects the boss's HP. Not their power or defense or speed or anything, just HP. They'll have a bigger HP bar. Then, the boss levels influence what you get from the boss. For a level 1 boss, you just get their weapon. Okay, well that's what most people expect anyway. Then, at level 4, the boss drops their weapon, and then either a life or weapon energy increase, which is on top of the hearts that you can still collect in stages. Then, at level 8 or above, they'll drop their weapon, a life or energy increase, and an item, which is an equipable upgrade such as increased speed or increased weapon damage. The upgrades are obviously the most valuable thing than any of the other rewards, but I'm sorry to say that the system is not exactly perfect. If you manage to get to the point where you're fighting a level 8 plus boss, you're greeted with the following options at the results screen: Weapon and Energy Plus, or Weapon and Life Plus. You have no way of knowing what actual equipable item you'll get from these two options. And if you defeat a boss before they're level 8, it's impossible to get those items again. If you choose the wrong option on the select screen, there's no way to change it. It's also worth mentioning that there are some items which are restricted to only X or only 0, so if you're focusing on one or the other, you could end up with a useless item out of the limited amount of items you're able to obtain. Also, when you choose the item, you still have to wait 2 more in-game days for it to complete development. Great. One strategy that's developed to obtain all the items is to run the timer down to day 11. Then you defeat a boss with 0, that boss being level 9, and then since you have +1 to Mavericks defeated, each boss will be level 8 or above for both X and 0, and you can continue how you want and still have time to obtain all the items before the timer runs out. Actually, you can still get the items after the timer runs out, but there's another thing I forgot to mention. The Hunter rank. The final factor in determining the boss level is your Hunter rank. The ranks go like this for reasons that aren't immediately clear to me. But at the beginning of the game, X starts at B and 0 starts at SA. So your Hunter rank can either raise, lower, or stay the same at the end of each level. That is, you cannot skip ranks. To get to MEH, you have to pass every rank in between first. Your rank result will depend on your score, which is sort of displayed at the results screen, but the actual calculation are 8 points each from 5 different categories: completion time, enemies killed, damage taken, damage done to the boss, and viruses hit by. So out of a total of 40 points, to go from B to A, you need to score a 28. At the end, to go from PA to MEH, you have to score a perfect 40. For completion time, it's the same for every level, 1 minute or 2 minutes depending on your rank. As a result, for certain levels, it's literally impossible to rank from GA to PA or from PA to MEH, since the levels simply take too long. For enemies killed, you mind-blowingly get more points for less kills. So, there you go. Damage done to the boss I think is not fully understood, but seems to be something about the overflow damage on the final blow. Strategies for getting the top Hunter rank with both characters involves doing the slowest levels first, and saving for last the ones where you can most easily get 40 points in order to increase your rank from PA to MEH. In particular, the last Dynamo fight and the Axel the Rose Red stage are saved for last. What's the point of the Hunter level? Well, nothing I think, except that it affects boss level. It's just a nice little complicated system they added, for a laugh. Now that that's out of the way, there's something I need to do. I don't want to do it exactly, but I feel like I have to. I have to do my part to silence the heathens parodying their dogmatic narrativization. The thing I need to talk about is the legacy of Mega Man X5. Or more specifically, variations of the statement, they should have ended the series with Mega Man X5. Do you know why people always say that? Well, I'll tell you. It's from the paraphrasing of a comment that Keiji Inufune made in the Mega Man X Official Complete Works book. I'm going to let the quote speak for itself. I had very little to do with X5. I just told the team to finish off the series with this title. That's why the game has a real feel of finality to it. So, he truly did not care about this game. I doubt if he stepped in to talk to the Mega Man X5 guys once after telling them this. Just do whatever, guys. Just kill Zero, maybe do a tie-in with Mega Man Zero. Also, he did not produce or direct this game at all, so what the hell? So, we had a team that was obviously underfunded. I mean, take a look at this opening cutscene. Painful. Working on a game that no one was paying attention to, at least judging by the choices that we've already gone over. And this is supposed to be the last Mega Man X game? Maybe I should give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he knew that Mega Man X would never survive the transition to 3D and wanted to spare it from the fate it eventually did experience in X7, but, you know, somehow I doubt that was the reason. Apart from the fact that there's no reason for this to be the last game, then, if this was the conclusion to the Mega Man X series, I think you guys need to go back to the drawing board, okay? We're gonna need to go back to the story a little bit. So let's assume that the natural conclusion of the Mega Man X series is a conflict between X and Zero. I mean, Zero is the originator of the Sigma virus, used to be a bad guy. He already fought X in Mega Man X2, kind of. And the scene in Mega Man X4 when Sigma confronts Zero for the first time in the past is a great story moment. That's the setup so far. Okay, but if we're gonna have Zero and X fight each other, there's still a little bit more setup to do. Maybe there could be something in the dialogue. Maybe we could show an actual relationship between X and Zero. First, let's take a look at the bad ending, where Zero is crashing into the colony. X says, "No way, what about Zero? He doesn't know yet. Are you going to sacrifice him, a soldier who fought to save the Earth and all of us? Do we have to let my one and only friend, my best friend, die?" Well, I mean, okay, that's not exactly what I had in mind, but we're establishing, okay? We're building up. Next, let's see when Zero has turned full Maverick. He's decided to tell X that he's going to destroy him. X says, "I know what you're thinking. You told me once before, right? There are things that cannot be seen or analyzed correctly as data. We have to feel." Oh my god, the callback! There are things that cannot be seen or analyzed correctly as data. Legendary. This was supposed to be the culmination of 5 games. Okay. Anyway, this is the bad ending though. What about the good ending? The good ending where Zero also dies? How does he die? Well, it's like this. After you defeat Sigma, Sigma tries to kill Zero, leaving him with half of his body left. Then, Sigma's actually still alive, shoots a laser through both X and Zero. Zero then kills Sigma. Somehow after all of that, Zero is the one who is dead, even though, and I hate to tell you something you already know, he's a robot who actually already died before. Okay. So as you can see, it doesn't make any sense. And it's not exactly a conclusion to the Mega Man X series. I guess you could say it's a conclusion to Mega Man X5, but very little of the story that's been building up has been resolved. I mean, you could say they were never really building anything up and just keep bringing Sigma back. But how about a few references, huh? How about some throwbacks? There are some, and we'll get into those in a second. But what I'm talking about is Vile, the X-Hunters, Bit and Bite, Dr. Kane, Sigma's dog, whatever. Something from the Mega Man X series. There are some deep-cut references in this game, but the things they chose to reference just boggle the mind. First, you give us a throwback theme, Bubble Crab's theme, in one of the worst levels in the franchise. Then, on the first Sigma stage, you give us the instant kill lasers from Quickman's level. Hello, special delivery, this is a Mega Man X game. Hello again, this is one of the most hated parts of the whole series. Miss. Then they give us a Yellow Devil boss, also from the original Mega Man. The boss with the special feature of taking an incredibly long time, and has already been done multiple times in the past. One can only wonder whether they mistakenly thought they were ending the entire Mega Man series. And these moving platforms apparently mirror the moving platforms in Sigma 1 from Mega Man X1, but, sorry to say, moving platforms suck. There's also the face boss for Mega Man X1, Ranga Banga. That's fine, I guess, but, I mean, it's not exactly an iconic fight, is it? There's a few I'm missing still, and what I'm trying to convey is that this game doesn't seem to be trying to conclude the series at all. It just feels like the next Mega Man X game, but Zero dies this time, which is I guess what it ended up being anyway. The polar opposite of this would be something like Metal Gear Solid 4, which also was supposed to be the last game, and spent the entire time making references and tying loose ends together. Pick your poison, I guess. So, you're trying to conclude the X series, you don't bring any characters back, but instead introduce 5 new characters. Dynamo is so dumb, smirking for no reason, appears 2 times and literally never appears again in the game. Why? Look at this idiot. Lifesaver. What a joke! Get out of here, Lifesaver! What about this guy? I'm alright too? Douglas, shut up. No one asked you. I swear to God, don't talk anymore, Douglas. And take a look at this. This has got to be the worst Sigma sprite in the entire universe. Holy crap. Well, that's all I've got, ladies and gentlemen. If you've played this game, you know that there's a lot of stuff I left out, but I really just wanted to break apart the untold secrets of this game and maybe try to reposition it in your mind a little bit. I hope you can tell that I don't hate this game. I wouldn't be making a video like this if I hated it. But they really don't make them like they used to. It was right at the cusp of the death of 2D platformers, where Mega Man X5 stood triumphantly. Well, not so triumphant, I guess. In fact, it seems like Capcom expected this to fail. Even after the success of Mega Man X4, it seems like they were putting all their eggs into the next big thing, and this was just a footnote on their financial report for the year ending 2000. So, I guess not triumphantly, but defiantly, Mega Man X5 carries on.